Hello! In this video I'm going to be talking about why I love video games. It's a fairly simple topic, pretty self-explanatory, and yet I have managed to create an entire script for this video of 1,347 words in an estimated 30 minutes. So without further ado, here is my entire thoughts on why I love video games and how I feel towards them. So, why I love video games. Video games. A form of entertainment that has grown astronomically large in the past 4 decades. What started as a simple concept has now become a cult phenomenon. Not only does it bring massive joy, satisfaction, comfort, and happiness, it also has employed many people and has helped charities in the world, such as SGDQ, Summer Games Done Quick, a stream that is hosted during the summer to earn money for various charities. In this video, I'll personally talk about my attachment to video games and how they have affected my life. Before I explain why I love video games and why they have given me a reason to live, I should explain who I am first. At the time of the creation of this video, I am an 18-year-old man from rural New York. I live with my mother and my big brother. My parents were divorced when I was 10 years old. My father has a different family and new life right now, but he still pays attention to his old family. I am currently unemployed, I am inexperienced, and I am a high school dropout. Why am I a dropout, you may ask? Because I cannot handle, at least, the American education system. For some it works fine. For others, it's a mess, and for me, it was a living hell. Why? Because I suffer from various mental and emotional issues. I have absolutely crippling anxiety, Asperger's, autism, albeit slight, and a rather unusual problem with certain sounds. Let me start with school. The entirety of elementary school seemed like a nightmare. I never wanted to go to school. What seemed like every school morning was a constant battle between me, my anxiety, and my mother. Going to extreme distances just to skip school. Lying, faking, and doing just plain stupid things just not to experience that hellhole of a place. During my elementary school days, I have swapped, changed, and tried out different programs within school that I went to. The system that finally, and for the most of the time, worked for me happened during the middle of 4th grade and continued until I moved on to middle school. But I will never forget elementary school. The constant fear. Every day nothing but anxiety and stress. Middle school was a tad easier. The independence, the changing classes, and the teachers did help with my problems, but it was still not perfect at all. I still had major problems of which I will not go into because I don't want this part of the video to be too depressing. I just barely scraped by the 8th grade. Just barely. High school. At this point, the middle school board suggested I transfer to BOCES. For those who don't know, BOCES, which stands for Board of Cooperative Education Services, is the type of school that is, as far as I know, dotted around the state of New York. It's much like regular high school, the changing classes, the timetables, the work, etc., but there were differences. The school day was much, much shorter. The size of the classes was also much smaller as well. BOCES was made in mind for those students who have either learning issues or trouble functioning in public school. So naturally, it seems logical for me to switch to this system, right? Well, I joined at the beginning of the 9th grade. At first, it was very simple, almost insultingly simple to a person such as myself. But as time went on, it got harder and harder and harder. I got my very first girlfriend during the 9th grade, which only lasted 3 months. 10th grade was just about identical to the 9th grade. 11th grade is the farthest I've ever gotten. I stopped attending around November of that year. Then around March of the next year, the school board decided to pull me from the system. So now, I'm a high school dropout. So that's me. I have intense problems, and I know, and I probably rambled on too long there given what the part of the video is supposed to be about, but oh well. I want everyone to know the full details. So on to the big question. Why do I love video games? We'll get ready for an answer, folks. Video games, to me, is a form of art and communication that cannot be achieved in common speech. In terms of art, it has shown off the technical capabilities of our computers and machines. I mean, just look at current generation games. Look at how beautiful they are. If you showed anybody the current kind of games that we can make nowadays to somebody in 1982, they would have exploded into a pile of red paste. To imagine that we can create these own living and breathing worlds in a computer is mind-bending to me. Just look at games like Grand Theft Auto, Fallout, The Witcher series, and The Walking Dead. These games have a gigantic world, beautiful scenery, massive complexity within their combat systems, and tear-jerking narratives and stories. In 1985, all the people had was just some plumber who walked to the right and jumped on weird mushroom people. And even then it was debatable if they were people due to the graphical capabilities of the time. They were just pixels on a screen, and granted, that's still what video games are nowadays. Well, just eons more complex. But people loved it, and they bought it because they found joy and entertainment within the screen and inside that little white and gray box. Nowadays, it's a beautiful way of bringing happiness to people. Any video game of any kind, from Zelda to Battlefield, and Resident Evil to Guitar Hero, it's a form of happiness. And the passion that surrounds this happiness is larger and more powerful than ever, and I don't see it going away anytime during my life. But what does video games do to me? As stated before, it brings joy. It has given me extreme happiness and love to my life. I have created a relationship with it that cannot be broken. It has kept my life on track. It has kept me from losing my mind. I could argue that it has kept me from killing myself because life has been extremely tough for me. There is more behind my mind being in a state of absolute fuckery right now, but I don't want the video to be absolutely saturated with depression. I currently own a PlayStation 4 and an average gaming computer. I do have older systems laying around, but I don't really play them anymore. Video games have tamed my mind. It has stabilized my consciousness and has brought reason to my life. I will never stop playing games. Even on my deathbed, you'll still see me with a controller in my dying hands. In conclusion, video games is my reason to live. My love, my maiden, my life. I have tried relationships with people, but they have all failed. But video games will never betray me. They will never disappoint me. They will never anger me. They will never leave me. Video games. Entertainment, pouring with peace, and overflowing with emotions and potential. Thank you for watching. And until next time, my viewers, auf Wiedersehen.